It's all about humanity.
Thank you so much for watching. Maybe I should do the intro now because I don't think I did a proper intro, but yes, my name is Crystal. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 5 years. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, if you're a returning subscriber, here's a little forehead kiss. We are going to rewind 30 minutes ago to when I was in the car, and we're gonna explain. It's a Saturday. I am driving back from training jiu-jitsu, and I live in Salem. It is like a week or two before Halloween. So I figured I would take this time while I'm sweaty from rolling, just simmering in my car, to answer a question that I had on my Instagram. The ocean's in back of us. Let's just decompress from that drive and actually put the camera down for a second. That way I can film without holding and driving through traffic. All right, so again, the question is, how do I roll with smaller people? Do I change my approach? And the answer is, of course, I mean, it depends. It depends on how strong the person is. It depends on, here are the things that I gauge, okay? I gauge how intense they're being. I gauge their athleticism, their experience, what vibe in total are they bringing. If I'm rolling up against somebody who is, you know, month 2 or month 3 and they're smaller than me, like I am going to reward them if they are doing something correctly. That's if somebody's like a beginner and just kind of getting into it. Like, for example, if they are really trying to bridge and roll and I have them in mount and they're trying an escape and they're doing it technically correct and they do it more than a couple times and they're really going for it, I will give it to them, meaning I will do things to reward them for good performance instead of just always shutting it down. Now, if I have somebody that is a little bit like more experienced, about a year, and is about 30 or 40 pounds lighter than me, what I do is, and it all depends how much pressure they can take too. When I roll with Laura, I find that our roll is very fluid, meaning I can go from like position to position and there isn't this strength thing where we're just like really fighting each other. It's very refreshing because I get to transition to a lot of different positions and be more technical. Whereas if I'm rolling with somebody like larger than me, it's going to take much more to try to control them and the transitions have to be like a little faster. If somebody is super smaller than me, you know, like I'm not going to belly flop on them in terms of pressure. I mean, it all depends how much pressure the person can take. When I first started jiu-jitsu, I was under a person, J-Jack was my first coach, and he didn't care if you were a female, a male, he was going to put pressure on you, and he liked the pressure game because he would sit like on your chest and it was so uncomfortable that you would just be like, oh my God, just submit me now, just like finish me now, like just get the arm bar, just do whatever you have to do, just please get off of me. Like, the pressure can be part of your game. But it all depends on the vibe of your gym and if that's like accepted or not. If you're at a gym where it's like pressure is just part of the game, sure, but you know, it really depends. So all in all, it's like whatever vibe they're bringing, I match it. I've rolled with people my size who were a lot stronger than me and had a extensive background in wrestling, so that's going to change things up. You know, it really all depends. So I like to go off of vibe more than anything, and you can kind of feel, you know, like how much pressure they can take, and you can kind of read it on their face. My first coach, again, always harped like, never make a face, never make a face. So you could have somebody that's putting all of their weight on you. Like, I had bigger people putting all of their weight on me, and in addition to that, putting extra force. And being able to withstand pressure is a skill in and of itself, and it's buildable. So if you have a smaller person, so when I was at my first gym, I was rolling with bigger people 30, 40 pounds heavier than me, almost like the same delta as me and Laura, and they would purposefully put pressure on me with all of their weight, and then techniques to even incite more pressure as time went on, because they knew that I could tolerate a lot of pressure. So how much pressure the person that you're rolling with can withstand is going to be a function of how much pressure has been applied to them throughout. And it's something that you can like verbally say, like, hey, look, like I'm going to, you know, apply more pressure on you. Just let me know if it's getting too comfortable or you're on the verge of being injured. If you want to play some pressure game, because just because somebody's smaller than you doesn't mean they can't withstand a lot of pressure if they've had enough time to acclimate to the pressure and build up like the muscles and the breathing pattern in order to withstand the pressure. But I'm not going to just, things are going to be controlled and they're going to be smooth instead of non-controlled. I'm belly flopping, and like, you don't want to do that anyway. Like, I find sometimes there's a belief of, you know, you can't put pressure on somebody just because they're smaller, but if you know that they have had pressure like in the past, or you've rolled them before and you know where they're at in their ability to withstand pressure, you can put more pressure on them. And you can also, I mean, during my training camps for my fights, my coach was 200 pounds. Like he was 210, I was 135, and you could tell that he like when we would spar, like he would let me work, but he would also make it very, very difficult. So you could just gauge how hard the person is fighting, what they've done before. It's really just like a feel thing. But you know, I think that pressure should also be applied to people, because if you never apply pressure to smaller people and that person is literally the smallest person in the gym and nobody ever applies pressure to that person, then when that person goes and competes, they're going to be in for a world of hurt because nobody ever put pressure on them like that. So I think it goes both ways. Like, it's, you know, being an asshole is relative. If I put pressure on somebody like who has never felt pressure before, that's going to feel different to that person than if that person has had incrementally increased pressure put on them before and now they can withstand it. So being an asshole is relative in terms of pressure. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Right. Bye.
Girls with